So this week I was feeling a bit lazy and decided to review Metal Slug 2. So why is that lazy? Well, because I was just going to refer you to the review I did of Metal Slug 1 and say, yeah, more of that. But after playing through the game, there are a few interesting things to talk about, so let's get straight to it. Metal Slug 2 has still got all of the crazy chaos and action that made the first game so great, only here they've really doubled down on it. However, this ended up being a bit of a double-edged sword for the game, because while it's great that they added so much more energy to every single encounter, whether it's the number of enemies you're up against, or the destructibility of the environments, all of this has a serious impact on the performance of the game. I'll get to the positives in a bit, but almost every screen is so jam-packed with stuff that the game struggles to keep up with what's going on, which of course leads to a serious case of the slowdown. So if fast-paced action is your thing, then this one may not be for you. In fact, the slowdown actually makes the game much easier to play, as there's now a reduced response time needed to get out of the way of things. I guess it does have some advantages then, but nonetheless, it was criticised back in '98 when the game was first released, and I've got to say it's still a problem today on the PS4. However, saying that, I'm glad it's still there, because after all, isn't that the whole point of these arcade archives? Not to improve on old games, but to recreate them, warts and all. The Metal Slug series has always been known for its comedy. Its light-heartedness makes it feel fresh compared to some of the other more serious side-scrolling shooters. Every screen looks like a Where's Wally or Where's Waldo book for my American friends out there. If you look, there's always something bizarre or unusual going on, perhaps some out-of-place character or a strange event taking place, whether it's enemy guards enjoying a nice barbecue, or a truck exploding only to have a baby flopping around inside for some reason. The fun cartoony characters make you feel almost guilty for having to kill them. Almost. And when you do eventually die, they all laugh, only to then immediately start screaming when they realise you've spawned yourself back in. The enemies range from things like these killer underground mutants that turn red just before they self-destruct, to undead Egyptian mummies. Oh, and while we're on the topic of mummies, this film right here is complete and utter bollocks. There you go, 2 reviews for the price of 1. If you're caught in a mummy's purple mist, you become infected and have to turn into one of them, which means that you lose whatever special weapon you had, plus have reduced speed, so it's pretty important that you rush to find an antidote as soon as possible. It's this kind of joy of never quite knowing what's coming next that makes it so much fun to play. At one point on mission 4, you can actually eat too much and become a beast, which isn't so bad because at least it makes your bullets bigger. Oh, and of course there's Hyakutaro Ishimonji, a prisoner of war that you can save who then fights alongside you, throwing out Hadouken balls at whoever gets in his way. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. Hadouken! The game now features 4 different characters that you can play as, including 2 female characters, but more important than that, it's got more vehicles to ride. Of course, you've still got the SV-001 or the Metal Slug, the only tank in the world that's ever been able to jump, and in my opinion is still the #1 vehicle of choice, especially when killing mutants. But you've also got a plane, a dual-wielding walking machine, plus a camel slug. Now, what the hell is a camel slug? Well, take a camel, put a Vulcan gun on it, and then send it off into the desert to fight a giant hovering plane. Makes perfect sense. So you may be asking, how can a game with a Vulcan camel and ancient Egyptian mummies possibly come to some kind of conclusion? How do things get wrapped up? Well, alien invasion. So time for a quick history lesson. At the end of the first game, when the main bad guy, General Morden, is defeated, one of his men sends a paper aeroplane out into space. This aeroplane was in fact a letter asking for help from anyone who could read it, so aliens. Who look a lot like squids, but nonetheless aliens. And they're not messing about either, they come to Earth in force. The game ends with a bit of a twist though. You see, the aliens actually end up turning against General Morden, so it's you, plus all of the soldiers you've been fighting all game, against the alien mothership. And isn't that a nice message for a NEO GEO game to end on? When mankind is faced with an intergalactic threat, it puts aside its differences to face the danger together. In fact, I think Reagan once said something along those lines. And there you have it, that is Metal Slug 2. So what do I think? Well, if you can overlook the slowdown, then this is one hell of a game. And if you can't overlook the slowdown, then just get Metal Slug X. It's basically a remake of the second one, but only with all the technical difficulties fixed, plus a bunch of added improvements, like the ability to get fat on any level and not just on 4. Until next time, thanks for watching.